So I've talked about the Grizzlies a bit lately. Spoke on, the Mike Conley trade, of course, and I've touched on how I feel about their young core, but I don't think I've dedicated a whole video to it, so we're going to do that right now. You start with Morant. So I think the question with and of course we're going to get to Jaren Jackson, Brandon Clarke, and all this stuff, but when we start with I think the question is, how good of a scorer is he going to be in the NBA? And more specifically, how good of a shooter is he going to be? Because I think beating defenders off the dribble, getting into the defense, whether it's ISOs, pick and rolls, all that stuff, I think he's going to be fine. I expect his passing to translate 100%. Won't be surprised if he leads the NBA in assists by his third season or something. But is he going to have more of a John Wall scoring output where it's like high teens, low 20s, but you can go under the screen on him and occasionally you can dare him to shoot, and yeah, sometimes he'll make enough jumpers to beat you, but other times you can have success doing it? Or is he going to have a Kemba Walker-esque jump in his shooting where, Kemba's first 4 seasons he was kind of meh, and then he fixed his form up a little bit or whatever he did. Now Kemba's become one of the best shooters in the league. I mean, 9 attempts a game at 36% is pretty wild. So which one of those spectrums is Ja going to end up on? I don't know. I mean, his percentages in college were good. 36% from 3, 81% from the line, decent to big sample size with both of those things. So that's great. But his form is a little wacky, where his elbow kind of flares out a little bit more than you like it to, and it's kind of low. But that being said, he steps into it with confidence, and once again, the percentages are pretty alright. So, I don't know. I don't think he showed enough for us to just definitely be like, this dude's going to be an awesome shooter. But I think he showed enough for us to be like, he'll probably be good, bare minimum. So I think it's almost a guarantee that he's going to be, at his worst, like a 17, 18-point scorer. And to go along with 11 assists a game and things like that, yeah, he's going to be an awesome player. But is he just going to be able to take that step up to 25 points a game because defenders have to basically trap him on every screen, because if they don't, he's going to shoot a 29-footer or something? It'll be interesting stuff. If we look at his relationship with Jaren Jackson, I think what's going to be interesting is that Jaren can kind of be a perfect pick and roll / pick and pop dude. I mean, we expect him to be a good shooter from the big man spot, whether that's the 4 or the 5, who really knows. The drafting of Brandon Clarke would suggest maybe closer to the 5, but of course Valanciunas is still here. But even so, I think Jaren has shown signs of going off the dribble and posting up on switches and just being kind of a perfect big man partner with Ja, because however you choose to defend that, I think they're both going to have a bit of a counter, right? If the big man gets switched onto Ja, he can get by him, or he can throw it down to Jaren in the post. If you trap Ja, then Jaren can make a play off the dribble. Or if you just leave Jaren open from 3, he could hopefully make that. I think he's shown enough to be like, yeah, if you leave him wide open, he can make shots. So that's a really intriguing thing. But the same thing I said about Ja, I'm going to say about Jaren. Can he become a 20-something point scorer? Because for all the nice things that we can say about these two and the young core of the Grizzlies or the young core of anybody, you need somebody who can just score 35 points out of nowhere. So that's going to be the big question. But even with that said, if I had these two as the leading pieces of my rebuild, I would feel very good about that. If we move on to Brandon Clarke, someone who was a bit beloved by draft scouts and all that, I kind of get like a Paul Millsap vibe from the dude if he can get stronger, because he can be a really good defender at 6'8", probably play the 4 spot, switch onto a few positions. You think that his handle is showing enough progress to where, yeah, he's not going to be a point forward or anything, but if the defense doesn't respect him, he can make a play off the dribble, might even be able to attack closeouts in time. And he just really cares about the little things, defense and rebounding and setting screens, and he doesn't do anything too stupid when he's on the floor in terms of fouls or turnovers. But again, he does need to get stronger, and that could be the make it or break it thing of his game. That, and if he can make threes. But if he can be a player, then I think the potential starting five of, well, I don't know if it's the full five, but some lineups with Ja, Brandon Clarke, and Jaren Jackson at center could really be something, because that is a very athletic, versatile three dudes, and then you think the other guys are hopefully good enough, whether that's Dillon Brooks and Kyle Anderson, or Dillon Brooks or someone else, or, whatever. I do think Dillon Brooks is in this team's long-term plans because I think he can be a shot maker who can occasionally create his own offense and things like that. And now, of course, we have to look at defense. I don't know what Ja is going to be defensively. If anything, he might just defend point guards and you call it a day. And like spot shooters or dudes who can't shoot, that kind of thing, of course. But with Jaren at the 5 spot, this team's probably guaranteed to be pretty good defensively for however long he's on the team. And then if Brandon Clarke can really pop, then that could end up being the best defensive front court in the NBA. I'm just going by what the scouts have said of Brandon Clarke, which is that he's a very versatile, smart defensive player. And the beauty of that defense would be that it can kind of do anything. Like if they need to trap, they have the bodies for it. If they need to close out, if they need to switch, most of the positions could do it. Because, Dillon Brooks is 6'6", so, maybe his defensive ceiling isn't very high, but you can trust him on at least a solid amount of wings in the NBA. And Kyle Anderson is a pretty good defender as well, and after that, I don't know. But there is a solid amount of versatility defensively there, but I do think Brandon Clarke's development is kind of the key for all that to really be a thing. Now, I say all of this, and Valanciunas is probably going to be on the team moving forward, so in that sense, you're going to have that big dude who focuses on rebounding and finishing around the basket and stuff, and defensively maybe leaves a little bit more on the table than you'd like, but that's still a valuable dude to have, whether he's your starting center long-term or if it's Jaren. I don't really know. I would like it to be Jaren at center with a versatile 4, but I don't think we should downplay all the things Valanciunas can do this early. So yeah, that's where I'm at on the Grizzlies. I do like a lot of the things they have going for them, but the one fear that I do still have with them is, are any of their guys going to end up being a big-time scorer? I think Ja, obviously the passing is there, but questions about the shot. And with Jaren, I think he can be a really good all-around offensive player, but I don't know if that equals you being a guy who can be one of the top scorers in the NBA. So that's all the stuff to see, but in terms of the passing, the defense, the versatility, and all that, this team has a lot of stuff to be excited about. So sky's the limit.